Tired of paying someone else to mount and balance your tires? Why not do it yourself? I'll show you how in this video from the Motorcyclist Garage. Motorcycle tires wear out fairly quickly, and paying someone else to mount and balance them can really add up. Truth is, the procedure isn't that hard, though you will need some specialized tools, including a valve core remover, tire irons, rim protectors, Windex, compressed air, and finally, a piece of carpet or a milk crate to work on. And to balance your new tire, you'll need a balance stand and some wheel weights. A warm tire is more flexible and so a lot easier to work with, so park your bike in the sun to warm up your tires. An easy way to put some heat in your rear tire is to spool up a nice smoky burnout. Hey, it's broached anyway, you might as well have some fun with it. The first thing you need to do is use your valve core tool to remove the valve core. Next, you'll need to coax the bead off the rim. These Bead Pro tire irons from Motion Pro have a built-in bead breaker for that exact purpose. Spray a little Windex on the wheel to lubricate the rubber, and then work the tool in between the rim and the bead. You'll need to work the tire in several locations until it pops down off the shoulder and into the channel in the middle of the rim. Once you've worked the bead off in one location, you should be able to press it off the rest of the way by hand. Remember, you'll have to do this to the other side of the tire as well. Kneeling next to the tire, place your knee on the tire to push the bead down into the center of the rim. Spray a little Windex on to lubricate the bead. Put your rim protectors in place. And then work your tire irons in. Most tires can be tackled with just 2 spoons, but a really stiff tire might require a 3rd iron. Man. I guess they fire out. Work your way around the tire, prying it off a little bit at a time. And once it's about that far, you should just be able to pull it the rest of the way by hand. There we go. Now we have to work the opposite bead over the same side of the rim. Once again, unless you want to scratch the crap out of your wheels, put your rim protectors in place. Then work your iron under the bead and pry it over. What you can do here is you can either kneel on it to try and work it over, but there we go, and bam, ready to go in the river. Just kidding. You should definitely recycle your tires. Most auto parts shop will do that for about $2 to $3 a tire. Now it's time to install the new tire. As was the case with the old tire, it'll be a lot easier to work with if it's warm. You can leave it in the sun for 10 or 20 minutes, but I like to set it out at the beginning of the procedure so it's ready to go as soon as I get the old tire off. Or if it's winter or just plain cold out, you can put a hairdryer on low and set it inside the tire until it's warm. So, you've got your new tire all warmed up and ready to go, and you will notice that there is a dot on it. That indicates the lightest part of the tire, which you're going to want to align with the valve stem on your rim. You'll also notice that there's an arrow on the sidewall that indicates direction of rotation. Make sure that matches your wheel as well. So, once you've got that figured out, get your wheel prepped. Wheel is going to be spinning clockwise. We've got the arrow spinning counterclockwise, so I'm going to put this side of it down. All right, you will want to lubricate your bead to get it ready for installation and use a rag to make sure that you don't squirt too much liquid inside the tire. With your bead lubricated and your dot aligned with the valve stem, you can pop the tire on. Oftentimes easier said than done. There we go. All right, so now we've got one bead over. We need to get the other bead over. Pretty much the same procedure. We're gonna spray some Windex on the bead to lubricate it up. And we're gonna slip our rim shields into place to help protect the finish on our rims. And just as when we were taking the tire off the rim, I'm going to use my knee to push the bead down into the center channel of the rim so that bead has a little bit of slack on it so that I can work it over. So this is the trickiest part of the procedure because as you're trying to lever the bead over one side of the rim, it's going to try and pop up on the other side. So what I do is I just use my knees and I'll walk them along the sides to keep that bead pinned down in the channel. All right. You just do it a little bit at a time. Walk your knees up. Slide your rim shield over a little more. Take another little bite, walk your knees up, slide your rim shield over a little more. Getting pretty close. Got the rim shield pinched between the tire and the rim. Resist the urge to take really big bites because it's going to be really hard to do. Just take little bites and make sure that you keep that other iron pinned down because it might flip out and try and smack you in the face. All right, now I'm going to very gingerly, without the rim shield in place, try and work the tire on the rest of the way. And this one's especially difficult because this is an OE tire that we're installing, which is really thick and really stiff. There we go. All right, we got the tire on the rim. Now we need to seat the beads on the rim. To do that, you need to reinstall your valve core with your valve core tool and then inflate the tire. Okay, the Windex has evaporated off the bead, so I'm going to spray a little more on there just to help that bead slide up on the rim. And fair warning here, when the bead goes home, when it pops up on the shoulder, it pretty much sounds like gunshots, and there's going to be 2 of them. No matter how many times I do this, it still surprises and scares me, so just be prepared. There it is. All right, that is maybe 15 or 20 PSI. You really shouldn't have to put that much air in the tire to seat the beads. If you're having trouble getting the bead up on the rim, resist the urge to overinflate it. You really don't want to go past 40 to 45 PSI. And if it's especially stubborn, just take a step back, pop the rim off or pop the bead off again, re-lubricate it with Windex and give it another shot. Okay, so this tire is mounted, but it has yet to be balanced. So we're going to get up on the bench and do that on the stand. All right, now it is time to balance our new tire. And no, you don't need any fancy equipment. In this case, I'm using an Axis balance stand from Motion Pro. So make sure that you've got your old wheel weights removed from the rim, then install your wheel on the balance stand. Now give the wheel a gentle spin. Not too hard or you're going to be waiting for a while. What we're looking for here is for the heavy part of the wheel to settle out to the 6 o'clock position at the bottom. If you see it swinging back and forth like a pendulum, it's okay to cheat and touch the wheel to slow it down a little bit. Once the wheel has settled out, mark the 12 o'clock position with some chalk or a piece of tape. This is the lightest part of the wheel where we're going to add weight in order to balance the wheel out. I'm using adhesive weights and I'm going to start with 4 of them. Just peeling the sticker back a little bit and sticking it to the rim. Once you've got your weight on there, turn it so the weight is at the 3 or the 9 o'clock position and see which way it spins. If the weight starts to rise, that means you need to add more weight. If the weight starts to sink, that means you've put too much on. Right now, I've got 4 weights on, that's 20 grams, and the weight is rising. So I'm going to add 1 more weight for a total of 25 grams. Once again, we're putting it to the 9 o'clock position and observing what it does. So right now the wheel is ever so slightly dropping down. That means I've put too much weight on. Personally, I like to err on the side of too little weight. If it's going to be imbalanced with 25 grams and it's also going to be slightly imbalanced with 20 grams, I would rather put less weight on the wheel. So we've decided on 4 weights. Now we need to clean the rims so that they stick well. And it's always a good idea to put some duct tape or gaff tape over the weights so they don't fly off. Place the weights as close to the center of the rim as you can. And that's it. This wheel is now balanced and ready to be reinstalled. This might seem like a lot of work, but given a little practice, you can bust a tire in under 20 minutes. And all told, we're looking at about $200 worth of equipment. Most shops charge between $15 and $50. Prices vary to mount and balance a single tire, so you do the math. That's it for this video from the MC Garage. Check back next time for more tips and how-tos.